Hello, this is lesson 31 through 33 of Algebra 1. Algebra 1 lesson 31 is talking about equations and equations with parentheses. Here's the deal. When you see a parentheses and you see something in front of the parentheses, whatever that is, that means you are multiplying it times that parentheses. So for example, if I had 4 times 3 plus 2, that's going to be 4 times 3 plus 2. We don't use the x because that makes it look like algebra. And again, the rule is you can use the distributive property, which is 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 4 times 2, which is 8. That's the most common thing to do. Or if it's simple like this, 3 plus 2, it's 5. So it's just 4 times 5. Again, 4 parentheses means times. Okay, everything inside that you just do. In this case, there's only 5. Both of these is going to give you the same answer, and that's how you do those. But we always deal with what's in the parentheses first. Second thing I want you to note is if you have a parentheses, let's say, for example, 2x plus 5, and you see a negative sign in front of it. Again, using the distributive property, that means negative of that, which is negative 2x, plus negative of that, which is negative 5. So we distribute that negative around, or plus or minus 5 is the same as minus 5. So see a parentheses with a negative in front, that means the opposite of everything inside. So the opposite of 2x is negative 2x. The opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. Notice that. Okay, so how might you see this in homework? Well, basically, they're going to pile a bunch of stuff at you, and you have to put it all together and get it right. And that will test your ability, and you'll do a few of these, and you'll get pretty good at it. So, for example, negative 3 times 2 minus c. Okay, so what is that? Well, it's negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. Negative 3 times negative c is plus c. It's plus 3c. Sorry, 3 times c is 3c. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So you've got to get used to dealing with that. Now, I'm going to add to this concept of solve. What that means is find what letter is going to make this true. Okay, so in this case, we go back to our balancing equation. So I'm going to say this problem is actually problem A on the lesson. It is negative 3 times 2 minus c. That's equal to c minus 2. So it's saying when you say solve this, what you're saying is what c is going to make this true? I don't know. So I'm going to start with the same thing I did here. Negative 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. I'm going to simplify it to where I have just numbers and letters on each side. That's step 1, numbers and letters. Step 2, get the letters over to one side versus the other side. Well, in this case, I noticed something. If I take and I subtract c from both sides, well, in other words, if I subtract c and I subtract c here, what's c minus c? Nothing. What's c minus c here? Nothing. And I end up with negative 6 equals negative 2. You may notice that that is not true. What that means is if you do a problem like this and you get to where you get something ridiculous equals something else ridiculous, in other words, something that cannot be true, that means there is no solution. There's no c, there's no substitution of anything that's going to make this true. Sometimes that's just reality. There is no making this true. All right, let's look at another one. This is practice problem B from the lesson. And you can see there's going to be quite a few different variations of this. But I wanted to show that it's not every time is it true. So I have negative 6c minus 5. Okay, that's equal to 4 parentheses 7c minus 8 and parentheses plus 3. So this is where you have a complicated left and a complicated right, and we say solve. In other words, what letter C is going to make this work? And it could be X's, it could be Y's. In this problem, it's C. Well, first of all, simplify it. This is going to be negative 6C. Opposite of negative 5 is plus 5. Okay, this is going to be 4 times 7c, which is 28c. This is going to be 4 times negative 8, which is minus 32, plus 3. So I'm going to end up with negative 6c plus 5 equals 28c minus 29. Negative 32 plus 3 is negative 29. So first step, simplify it to where I have letters and numbers, letters and numbers. Second step, put all the letters over to this side. So I'm going to subtract 28c from both sides. And I get 28c minus 28c is 0. So I end up negative 6 minus 20 is negative 34c. And then I'm going to get the numbers on the right side. So subtract 5 from both sides. These will go away. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. And on the left side, all I've got is this. And on the right side, I have negative 34. Okay, so this then makes it kind of easy. Third step. Divide both sides by whatever is in front of the letter. 34 over 34 is 1. So 1 times c equals negative 1. And I am done. It's always going to be 3 steps. The first step, though, might be you have to simplify it a bit before you can do much else. Okay, that is the lesson number 31. Moving on to lesson number 32. Okay, what's going on with that? Lesson 32. Lesson 32 is going to be what we call word problems. So lesson 32 is being able to take phrases and turn them into math. So this is practice problem A, and it says 4 times a number is decreased by 8 equals 92. Find the number. I'm going to write that out so you can see what I do in my head. 4 times a number. I'm going to use the symbol number. Decreased by 8 equals 92. Okay, so what you're doing is basically translating sentences into math equations. 4 times a number. When you ever say it's times a number and they don't tell you what that number is, we're going to use the number x. Your book sometimes uses the number or the letter n. I'm going to use x. So 4 times a number is decreased. That means you're subtracting something from it by 8. And that's going to equal 92. So 4 times a number, the number, I don't know what it is, you can use n or x. 4 times x minus, or is decreased by 8, equals 92. So the first step is figuring out the equation. Second step is rereading it to yourself to make sure it actually works. Okay, then we solve. Again, step 1, put all the letters on the left, put all the numbers on the right. So if I add 8 to both sides, I've got that. I have 4 x's on the left. I have 100 on the right. Divide both sides by whatever's in front of that letter. Those will become 4 over 4, which is 1, or 1 times x equals 25. 100 divided by 4 is 25. That's how we do this. Okay, so that's lesson 32. Lesson 33 is next, and I know you're excited about this one. So lesson 33, last lesson for this week, is going to be products of primes and that sort of thing. So let's see how this actually works. We're trying to simplify fractions and simplify things by using the prime number concept. So here's, for example, 108. And I want to write this as a product of primes. Okay, and this does have value. And again, prime numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. There's a whole bunch of them. These are numbers that cannot be divided by anything but themselves. So 108, the way we do this typically is we write a tree. And 108 is divisible by 2. It's an even number, so that's 2 times 54. 54 is equal to 9 times 6. 9 is equal to 3 times 3. 6 is equal to 2 times 3. If you keep these going like this, you will eventually get to where the only thing left, oops, I forgot 2. 2 is a prime. also is you will end up with only these numbers. So if I were to say, what is this as a product of prime? I start with the 2's. It's 2 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 3 times 3, times 3 times 3 times 3. So this is 108 as a product, meaning multiplying, of prime numbers. One more. I will give you, let's try 400. And I'm going to erase these other ones so that they are out of the way. Okay, so 400, well, that's equal to 4 times 100. 100 is 2 times 2. 100 is also equal to 2 times 50. 50 is equal to 2 times 25. And 25 is equal to 5 times 5. So when I do this, I circle all the prime numbers when I'm done. That way I know when I'm done. And I count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there are 5 times 5. 5, 5. This is product of primes. Okay. And that is lesson 33. Is basically using word problems like we did on lesson 32, so I'm not going to go over that again, and writing numbers as a product of primes. Not too hard. I will see you next week.